Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mary's little house. So happy to have you. It was a wonderful morning, except there was a very great outpouring of rain. It just poured like the bottom fell out of the skies, and just we had buckets of rain, and then it stopped just as fast. This is so wonderful to have you. I'm so grateful. Peanut's right here sitting on my lap, or all curled up comfortably, getting ready to go to sleep when I begin to talk. I'm so grateful to have you. I would like to just share the Divine Romance number 18. I titled "When Things Go Wrong." It's going to be really different. So listen, you've heard this before, but I have some real experts. I'm going to be quoting to share this with you. It's from last month's the Magnificat, Father Cameron's. He does a beautiful editorial in the front of the Magnificat from last month, and someone gave me a copy, and I'm so grateful for that. Anyway, he quotes Saint Claude Colombier, a French Jesuit, who was the spiritual director of Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque, who helped her spread the public devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. He's often called the Saint of Confidence. He has a little book called Confidence, a nice little book on the virtue of trust or confidence. Well, let me just read to start out with some of his words. Experience shows that even the gravest misfortunes can have good results, and the greatest successes end in disaster. Well, that's something we see that in experience. We see some of the stars make it to the heights and seem to come crash landing sometimes in their lives. But they're very successful in their talents and in being stars and everything. But yet at the time, and personally, sometimes they crash land, unfortunately. Or when we do fail, I notice sometimes when I'm doing the YouTube and I'm really going in there checking, and all of a sudden something happens technically, or I make a big mistake and I have to start all over. And then I realize what I said in that other YouTube that I had to erase. Oh, thank God I did, because it would only confuse people or whatever. I don't know what, but even my misfortunes, that would be a misfortune. I have to start all over again. Works. It's like God editing my YouTubes, because He said that's not going to go, Jim, and then I have to start all over, and it's much better and it's more clear and all that. So God works through that. But let me keep going, because that's the point I'm making. God's working through all of this. That is why if providence, that's God, takes away what a believer has and strikes them down, and in the midst of his reverses he continues to express the same sentiments, returning the same thanks and obeying his Lord with the same promptness and submission as he did formerly, it is then that he proclaims the glory of God and the efficacy of His grace in the most convincing and striking manner. And then Father Cameron adds, our woes are a way of giving God the greatest glory. So if I suffer a failure or some misfortune, and I say, God, you know what you're doing, so I accept it, and I give you glory and praise, and I trust what happened is for my greater good, because you permitted it or you let it happen, whatever. That gives us the greatest glory. That says that my will's out of the way here, and I just want God's will. And when we want the will of the beloved, that's giving ourselves. We move ourselves out of the way, our number oneness out of the way, and say, oh, not my will, but God, I want your will. When we love our spouse or love our dear friend, not my will. What can I do for you? I want your will, not mine. Don't worry about that. Okay. Well, let's keep going. We give God the greatest glory. There's another priest going to come in here, a Dominican father. uh, of confidence. Oh no, Dominican, yes, confidence in this truth inspires the 17th century Dominican Father Alex Pini to write, "Nowhere is there a deeper or more lively faith than in the conviction that God arranges everything for our welfare. Everything, even when He appears to destroy us and overthrow." Excuse me, I'm turning the page. Even when He appears to destroy us and overthrow our cherished plans, when He allows us to be calumniated, to suffer ill health and other afflictions still more painful. At these moments, says St. Claude de Colombière, we shall reproach ourselves for grieving when we should have been rejoicing, for doubting God's goodness when He was giving us concrete evidence of it. He was giving God concrete evidence of letting us go through all those afflictions and pain, ill health, calumniation, because that's when God's really showing love to us. Now, I know that sounds, oh my God, is that contradictory? Are you speaking out of both sides of your mouth? No, because God is really calling us to give Him the greatest glory, to say, God, I have confidence in You. This death in my family, this financial burden, this what's happening to me is the greatest gift You could give me. For I could give You, You give me a chance to give You the greatest gift I could give You, myself, my will, not mine, but Your will, and a trust in You, complete surrender to You, that You got all of me. I don't need this special project that just went belly up. I don't need the money that I don't have right now. I need whatever I wanted, and it was taken away from me. It's okay, God. It's okay. I give You, God, glory, and I trust You completely with that. I have nothing to stand on, but to trust, my trust in You, that You're taking greater good out of these things. So could I give God the greatest glory? Because when we give God the greatest glory, we give ourselves. That's what worship is, offering of ourselves to the Father. Our hearts, our whole being, our hearts, our will. Okay. For as St. Paul testifies based on his own personal experience, we know that all things work for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. Romans 8:28. Remember, Romans 8:28 says, when you think that the world's fallen apart and God's not listening, we know that all things work for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. For those who love God, we have nothing to fear, even if things are not working out in the political scene and our country seeming to lose its religious freedom. We keep working and we keep defending the truth and the little ones. But we no matter what kind of letdownness we feel with our senators who or whatever, we just keep loving them and we keep working with joy and happiness. Because we know ultimately the victory will come. But no matter how many disappointments, no matter when we're on the brink of despair, we could proclaim with St. Paul, we know that all things work for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. Romans 8:28. 8:28. Okay. Now let's keep on going here. This is really neat. This one here. A spiritual writer, Jesuit, Father Jean-Baptiste Saint-Chouet, died in 1657, counsels us that in one way it is even more important. Listen to this, and I love this because this is usually what I get to practice. In one way, it is even more important to practice conformity to God's will in small things than in larger things, both because they are more frequent, a lot of little crosses, and because the habit of supporting them in a Christian spirit prepares us in advance to show resignation when we have to face serious difficulties. So even Jesus said, when you're faithful in little things, you'll be faithful in the big things. But when you accept the little things with great resignation and praising God and thanking Him and trusting Him that this is for our good, He knows better than we, when we set those little things, we're ready for the big things. We don't have to wait for that next shoe to drop or the next calamity to happen. We'll be ready because we've been faithful in these little crises, these little setbacks. Keep in mind, advises St. Claude de Colombière, a rule God usually follows, listen to this, a rule God usually follows is to attain his ends by ways that are opposite to those of human prudence. What human prudence would normally choose. God's ways are not our ways. All the same, since Saint-Gire, a glove is not more fitted to a hand. Remember, you fit like an old glove? But he's saying this, a glove is not more fitted to a hand than what God does and ordains in us for us is suited to our strength and capabilities, so that everything may serve to our advantage and perfection if we but cooperate with the designs of his providence. So everything that God's, it fits better than an old glove fits our hands, what God does for us. All we need to do is say yes to whatever he does. It suits our capabilities, it suits our strength, and it's the greatest advantage for our own growth and union with God and for our own full human potential to be fully human as God calls us. Okay, St. Claude, and this is the last, and I'm ending with this. Listen to this, dear people. It's so beautiful. St. Claude imagines the Lord is saying to us, he's imagining the Lord's telling us, let me manage your affairs and look after your interests. He's wanting to manage our affairs and look after our interests. I know what you need better than you do yourselves. If I paid heed to what you think you need, you would have been hopelessly ruined long ago. So if God would have been answering all our prayers the way we want them, we would have been hopelessly ruined long ago. So what is it? The message is to let God manage our affairs. Let God take care of us. And this Lent for me has been just on that exhortation to let God manage us, to surrender to God. Even the very observance of Lent's been in his hands, and it's really been a Lent so far. It's only been a week and a day here, and God is really working mightily in me. And I didn't make a lot of large resolutions, but it's just this letting God do what he wishes with me in each moment, and especially in the little things that God permits me to suffer or to undergo or to be disappointed or whatever. Those are great times when I could give him the most glory and say, God, I move my will out of the way, and I give it to you, and do with me as you wish. God bless you. I am so glad to be with you. So I encourage you to let God be your manager. Let him manage your look after your interests and manage your affairs. He's doing it, and he's the author. And when these little things happen, we don't go back and say, now, God, what did you do that for? I mean, we could talk to him like that because he loves for us to be intimate with him, and friends could complain to each other that way. That's fine, but to say, God, okay, you're working something out here. I don't understand it, but you do, and you be my manager. You take care of all that I am and have, every moment of my life, my past, my future, and this present moment that I only have to please you. So I want to always say yes, whatever you're doing right now at this YouTube. I got to sign off, God, so help me sign off well. Oh, okay, I'll sign off well by saying God's blessing to the whole world, no exceptions. God's blessing to all my viewers, no exceptions. May God help you continue your journey with this Lent. Be courageous. Be generous. My God, I do a little tiny generous thing, and I just, like Niagara Falls or that storm this morning that just drenched us all immediately. It just like I said yes to God to something this morning, getting ready for Mass, because I always go to Mass on 11:30 on the shrine, but I wanted to do it for my little godchild, and I did, and I was just drenched with graces. I tell you, God is not outdone in generosity. So let God take over your life by just be obedient to Him now. Don't worry about the past and the future. He's got that. His mercies take care of that. And His providence take care of the future. It's now that we let God do with me as you wish. God bless you. All of you. No exceptions. Like God's love. God bless you.